Floyd Mayweather has been a dear friend. You've told me many times. It's his 40th birthday. You obviously probably can't buy him nothing. You guys make money together. But what's the one thing you think Floyd might need in his life that he doesn't have already?
Well, you know, I was thinking about that, and there's really no, I think, material goods he can buy. But I think one thing you never have too many is good friends, loyal friends, and that is something money can't buy.
And what's the next card for Richard Schaeffer?
Well, you know, I'm working on some exciting stuff.
You got your pro debuts coming up.
Debuts are coming up in April. Then I have a fight in June in Paris with Tony Yoka, turning pro, the heavyweight. Then next weekend is in London. We have David Haye fighting. So there's a lot of, I'm working on maybe a big card in June in Staples Center. So just staying busy, looking at some other foreign markets to do something similar I've done in France and in the UK. So, you know, building it again.
Now, speaking of David Haye, are you looking to get him back into the action against AJ versus Klitschko?
Well, David Haye is such a polarizing figure and a huge star. You know, between him and Anthony Joshua, these are really the only two pay-per-view stars in the UK. So he's right there, you know, and he's willing to fight anybody. This fight here with Tony Bellew sold out in less than a minute, generating the biggest gross engaged in the history of the O2. So, you know, so yeah, he's right there.
You know, what are some of the things that you remember most about Floyd Mayweather as far as?
Well, you know what really stands out? We all know his tremendous talent in the ring, but what really stands out, and I've been fortunate to promote many of the big names over the past 15 years, but I have never met somebody as loyal as Floyd Mayweather is. He's just an amazing person, and that really stands out the most. What stands out as well, that he is hands down the best self-promoter there is. I mean, he really gets it.
Right.
He really gets it. He's hardworking in the ring. He's hardworking promoting. Always has great ideas. Is very creative. So not only from the talent in the ring, but outside of the ring, it's really a one-in-a-generation talent.
Now, Cinco de Mayo, we have Chavez Jr. and Canelo. How do you see that fight going, and who wins that fight?
Well, you know, if you look at those pictures from the press conference and you look at the size, how are you? You look at the size differential, it's almost like boy against man. And usually man wins. So I don't know. I mean, and I was very surprised and frankly impressed how Chavez looks to be in shape. I mean, this was not a fat Chavez.
Yeah.
This was a Chavez where you can see that he's working his ass off. And two things we know from Chavez: that he has a chin, he has a chin, and he has a punch. And so it might be a long night for Canelo.
You know, speaking of Canelo Chavez, that may be the biggest fight in boxing. However, there is a bigger event that could be on the rise, and that's Mayweather versus McGregor. How do you see that fight happening?
Well, you know,
and is it a great possibility? Is it a reality?
I think that the Canelo Chavez matchup is a very intriguing matchup, but I don't think it's the biggest fight.
It might be the biggest fight in boxing, but
no, I don't think so, because you have two guys who don't speak English, and it's difficult to really cross over. Believe me, it's difficult to cross. I know from experience. You're going to be appealing to the hardcore boxing fans and to the Hispanic fans, and in those two pockets, you're going to do extremely well. But in order to do 1 million and more, as some people suggest, you can only do that if you cross over into the general market. And if you do press conferences where most of it is in Spanish, you really label the fight already as a Hispanic fight. And it shouldn't be labeled as a Hispanic fight. And that's my feeling. I like the fight, don't get me wrong, but it's not like this gigantic.
But let's talk about the biggest event that I just mentioned, Mayweather-McGregor.
Yes, now there you're talking
That's
about.
what I said.
There you're talking about an event
That's
which
event.
would cross over into the general market, and you know, I think will bring in a totally different demographic as well. So that would be a very intriguing event.
Do you think it's competitive though?
Well, you know, you can't count out somebody like McGregor.
Yeah.
And McGregor can take a punch too, you know, and he's a strong guy, and so it would be, I think, more competitive than people think it would be. But, you know, again, look, if nobody in boxing could even come close of beating Mayweather, you know, I mean, very few even landed a punch on him. How can anybody else remotely come close on beating Mayweather? There's nobody out there.
Richard, going back to Canelo Chavez, there seems to be kind of like a divide between the Mexican fans. You promoted Canelo for a while. You helped build the star that he is now. Why do you think the Mexican press is not really a big fan of Canelo as opposed to Chavez Jr. and vice versa, including the fans? It seems like Mexican-born fans are more for Chavez Jr. Well, Mexican fans over here in the United States are more for Canelo. Why do you think it's like that?
Well, actually, I just came back from Mexico City and I heard a little bit the same kind of sentiments you just mentioned. You know, the Mexican people are very humble people. They're very hardworking people, and they don't like people who like brag and, you know, drive around in Ferraris and Lamborghinis and, you know, sort of like lose a bit touch with the people, and I think that's what it is. I think some of the people can relate more to Chavez and can relate more to everyday struggle, and I think they look at Chavez more as one of them, you know, and somebody who does battle the demons, whether if it's alcohol or this or that, or, you know, people can relate to him more.
You know, what does bigger numbers you think in the pay-per-view sales? Mayweather versus Pacquiao too, or Mayweather versus McGregor?
Well, I think the Mayweather versus Pacquiao had such a big backlash, you know, of negativity that I think it would be difficult to sell it again. Not impossible. I think people would still buy it, irrespective of what people say. But I think, you know, everybody now is talking about Mayweather and McGregor, and it's sort of like nobody really talking about the Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch.
Right. Makes sense.
So I think the interest of the people is in a Mayweather-McGregor fight. Now, the fight I like to see, which, you know, to be honest, wouldn't do as many numbers as a Mayweather-McGregor fight would do, is for Floyd to fight the winner of Thurman and Garcia and really put like the cherry on top, you know, fighting again a young guy, undefeated guy, who is clearly going to be the king of the welterweight division, and him coming back and say, hey, I'm still the boss.
Not on my watch.
Not on my watch, I'm still the boss. That'll be like the cherry on top, and I think would even shut up the most critical people, and there are a lot of people which are still critical of Floyd, and that would shut them up. I think, look, I mean, Floyd's legacy and what he has accomplished is intact, so he's in my opinion, the greatest of all time, because of his achievements in the ring, but because of his loyalty and the way he carries himself outside of the ring. So I'm like the #1 Floyd Mayweather fan, and will always be.
Can you give us the winner of Thurman versus Garcia? Who's going to win that fight?
I could give you 10 reasons why Thurman is going to win, why Garcia is going to win, and that is what makes it so exciting. And I just can't wait. I really can't tell you. I mean, I can't. And that is truly the definition of a 50-50 fight. I mean, you know, some people favor Keith Thurman. How are you? Some people favor Keith Thurman, and they think he's the king or the heir apparent of the welterweight throne. But I have to tell you, and I agree, I mean, I promoted all of his fights until I left, you know, and the same is with Danny Garcia. Now with Danny Garcia, he's one of those guys, and it's something you can't learn, you can't teach. He always finds a way to win. He just always finds a way to win, and he fights up to his competition. So that on a week, you know, you're going to see the best Danny Garcia we have seen yet, but we will see the very best Keith Thurman as well. I mean, what a hell of a fight.
How How many pay-per-view buys does Canelo Chavez in your guess?
I think maybe like 350.
Floyd Mayweather.
No, 350,000.
Floyd Mayweather versus the winner of Garcia and Thurman. I do think that's an excellent fight as well. However, Danny has gone on record saying that he's not really looking for a fight with Floyd, and Thurman has gone out on record and actually called Floyd out. Do you think Floyd would actually be tempted to come back against either one of these gentlemen?
I think you see Floyd here tonight. He's having a great time. This is a huge party for him. He's turning 40. He has a lot of money. He has a lot of successful businesses he's involved in. I really don't see Floyd fighting again. That's and he was very clear about that. Now, having said that, if somebody comes and you know, where he can make another 100, 150, 200 million dollars, like it could be in a McGregor fight, you know, I think even a 40-year-old retired Floyd Mayweather might say, hey, why not?
I just want to ask you this, Richard. Did you sign Leo and Abner? Because I saw that they posted something, so it's kind of like
No, but I work with Leo and Abner, and I've known those guys forever. As you know, I promoted most, if not all, of their fights. So with Abner from his very first fight on. I mean, Leo, I think when he was like 10 or 8 or 8 years old. So these are my friends, and I've known them forever, and I'm sure, you know, when they're gonna fight the next time, I'm gonna promote those events.
Okay, because I know they mentioned something like, I don't know, I saw something online that made it seem like you had signed them.
No,
like
but we are like, you know, sometimes it's one of those situations. A relationship is stronger than any contract.
Yeah, okay.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
When's the next big